Out for the
Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, Mr. Mikey V, and I'm back again with Revelation Rob. What up, bro? How are you?
What up, fam? What up, fam? We doing good. We in the building today. We doing good.
Hell yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. Nice another Sunday today. Having a good time. Looks like Rob's watching the game there. You got the game going on in the background.
Just for y'all who want to see some of the highlights and shit.
Some of the reels
right
there. Nice. Some of you sports heads out there got to keep on it, right?
Yes, sir.
As you can see, I'm changing my room here. I got some Nintendo stuff going on. I'm changing my shit up. I think I'm gonna create a whole like Nintendo energy. We're gonna be in the game.
Because that's what weird people do.
No, I'm just old, Rob. I'm old, and I must be going through a midlife crisis or something.
Well, I can't tell that you're old with all those kid toys in the background there, Mikey V.
Well, that's what happens when you start to get old. You like revert back to the nostalgic times, you know, like where you feel good, like when that favorite recipe your mom used to make you, or your favorite video game system. Like, dude, I stopped gaming a long ass time ago, probably at PS1. I stopped being interested in games, like video games and shit like that. I mean, they were cool and I played them, but I stopped being interested in them for a while, you know. But like, yeah, I stopped at like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, you know, Sega.
See, you say life, it's almost like life is recyclable. When you're born, you know, you shit on yourself, you wear diapers, you're bald headed. Then when you get older, you go back to being bald headed, you shrink, and then eventually you got to be put in diapers.
Is that why you're bald, Rob?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm getting old. I used to have hair.
You don't want people.
What I'm saying is like when you're growing up, man, you're into all this little stuff, you know, in your teenage years, and when you get 20 and a little bit into your 30s, but then once you really start growing up and getting into your 40s, you start thinking differently, and even actually at like you like it seems like every 10 years or so you start like kind of changing and thinking differently. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you kind of like just grow up. So
and it makes sense now, doesn't it? Like when you think about the word like grown up or like growing up, you know, like when you think about that, like when you were a young man, a teenager, and someone said, "Oh, you need to grow up," you kind of thought you were already, right? And then like you realize
like you're
now,
grown, but you're really not. I mean, age is, I think it's more like the wisdom. The older you get, the more wiser you get. Like you're not necessarily like, I feel pretty still young and healthy at 40, you know.
right?
But I remember thinking back when I was a kid, when I heard somebody say that they were 40 or something, that was like old, you know. You're like, damn, dude, you're 40, you're old as hell, you know. And
It's crazy though, because 40 when we were younger, because I'm 42, I'm 40 also, not 42.
yeah, old motherfucker.
Also, I'm 40 also, yeah.
Know your real age, you old bastard.
But you know, back when I was like, you know, a teenager or in my early 20s, you know, and like thinking about 40 looked different on people then. You know what I mean? Like someone who was 40 then, it just like they kind of had
Look
that.
like they were 60 or something, right? Like
Right.
they were.
Like they kind of had like the gray hair and all this, and like I look at myself now in the mirror, and maybe it's just me or my generation, but like I don't know, like I
You
don't
don't look
feel
40,
like I
man,
look like I'm 40.
but you
Like
don't look 40 either. Like you still look like you're maybe 30. Like, and
30.
I get that out. Yeah, I get that all the time. Like people will
I do
say,
get
I've
that
had
sometimes.
I've had people say as young as 27. Like on a
Really?
good day
Damn.
when I'm flossed up and got the young drip on with
Right.
the stunner shades on something, they be like, oh, we thought you about 27, 30. I'm like, shit, I'm 40 years old. What's going on? They're
Dang.
like,
And then
damn.
they trip out, huh? Because they're like,
Yeah,
what?
they
You're
bug
40?
out.
Yeah.
But back in the day when the motherfucker said they was 40, he was like,
I
yeah,
was like,
you
yeah, I could
old than a
tell.
motherfucker.
I
You
could tell
old than a
you're
motherfucker.
40, bro. Like that dude is 40. Yeah, that's crazy. It's so crazy to think like that, man, because I don't think of myself as an old person like that, but that is kind of like, you're in the midlife. You're in a midlife time. And I noticed that too. Like I said, it's going back to like all this nostalgia type stuff. It's like, back when I was a young kid, I liked the Nintendo stuff. And it's weird though, too, because it's also become like you see the pattern in fads like over the years, like people that
I feel like those
dress
are
a
also
certain way.
recyclable too, though. Those
Yeah.
the styles and the threads of the fads, the fashion is recyclable as well.
Right.
Like back in our days,
We were trying to
I
look like
remember.
the 70s, weren't we? I felt like
Well, they had the Jinkos. Well, those that came out like the Jinko jeans, which are coming back into style. Those big wide
right,
leg. You know what I'm saying? Like
right,
when we were
like the
growing
bell
up, we
bottom
had yeah,
type
we
of
had
thing.
well, when I was younger, like around like 7, 8, the style was like tight rolling your pants or your jeans, so you got that skinny look at the bottom. But then it went into
So that
like
was like
baggy
the
jeans.
80s.
Yeah, that was like the 80s going into the 90s, and then it became baggy,
Yep.
everything baggy, man. Everything was baggy and wide leg pants, baggy. Now, now recently, it's like in the past whatever about 10 years it's became like back to skinny jeans and skinny, everything thin,
Yep.
everything fitting,
Like they
everything
starting back
skinny.
at the 80s again or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, and then I'm starting to see this little trend of like Jinko jeans and bell bottoms starting to get popular again and come back
Right.
into style, so
Yeah, dude. Like
uh,
I saw it, like I seen it like you were saying earlier, like decades. You know how we all change over a span of like decades, I feel like, 10 years here, 10 years there. But like, yeah, like so like I remember being a young teenager and like the look kind of was like we all wanted that Kurt Cobain look kind of. The long hair down to here, and then you'd wear flannels and the baggy jeans, and you were kind of like a hippie. So we were like borderline like hippie 70-ish. Like we were kind of taking trends and styles from those days and those eras and then trying to work it into like something a little more 90s, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
then but then like you seen after the 90s, then it was the 2000s, and that was like kind of the same thing, big clothes, oversized clothes, kind of like that blingish look, that was like when bling rap was pretty big. um but then it really jumped after that. It really started to look like they went back to the 80s. They were wearing like these bright colors and zebra print stuff, and now
Tie-dyed in the hair, they're bringing tie-dyed back,
yeah.
tie-dyed shirts, they're yeah, it's kind of like they
But
did jump
now,
back.
now we're moving into
Like
like
jean jackets and shit. Like people used to wear
right.
those in the 80s and
It's
shit.
like
Those are
now
coming
we're in
back.
2020s. The 2020s looks like they're taking a chip off of the 90s now, like now we're
Yeah,
living in the 90s, but we also have this like futuristic twist to it. Like they still,
yeah.
this generation still made it their own, but like everything that they're rocking, I'm like, bro, I remember doing that. And some of the stuff I remember I didn't like
Yeah.
the way the hats looked in the 90s, the hats, like people would wear them like really high up on their head and they were real
Oh,
square looking kind of,
yeah,
like the
yeah,
hats. I hated that look. I hated it, but like, dude, everybody's wearing them like that. Like, if you were wearing a hat, like kind of like the Easy E straight out of Compton hat, like that kind of a look, you know
yeah.
what
See,
I
that's
mean?
why I think we've gone through as much as a society or a species or whatever to what we can do, and that goes into like the movies too. Like you can only make so much of something. You know what I'm saying? Something
Right,
of being new. Like you can't really come out with a new trend or a new style. You can only take what we've already done and critique it or upgrade it or put some
revise it.
swag, yeah, or something like that. Basically,
Well,
like
that's
with
why all the
movies.
movies nowadays are all remakes.
Exactly. That's what I'm
They're
saying.
all
Because
just remakes.
we done ran through all the ideas and the
Have we though? Because like, dude, we gotta have more ideas than that. People gotta have better ideas than what's going on,
it
right?
seems like to me that all the hot movies were coming out like from the 80s to the early 2000s, and then after that it just became like, I don't know, it's just something different about them now. Like they're not interesting. I mean, there's still some good movies that come out, but it's,
Right,
to me they're mostly like, I don't know, maybe it's me getting older, not being interested in certain shit I was 10 years ago.
right.
That could be a possibility too.
Maybe
But which goes back to getting older and changing and just
that's another thing. Kind of like, I guess that's what the premise of what today's show is. I guess we were just kind of trying to see what you know, because I think of it like I'm afraid to hit that mark where they say you're going through a midlife crisis, but I don't feel like I'm ever going to hit that mark. You know what I mean? But I should be, right? Because I'm 40. I should be in that zone or that area or that time frame to be having these like weird midlife crises, like where I just go out and buy a fucking what motorcycle. Is that what I mean? That's what the midlife crisis was when I was a young kid, and I saw someone who was 40 was like, oh, he got a brand new bicycle or a motorcycle. And now he's out riding around with his friends because he thinks he's a biker or something. He's taking it back to the old school.
yeah. I'm not sure if that's. I mean, I guess maybe that's a midlife crisis. I thought midlife crisis was where you fucking have a mental breakdown and shit, like after you're, like in the middle of your life,
Like
like
what?
you're
Like
ready to
you,
fucking give up, kill yourself, or some shit like that. Yeah,
right?
no, like it's going through midlife crisis. Like I
So
don't.
like my, so like my
Google that
parents,
shit. Google that shit right now. Let's see
my
what it means.
parents,
Midlife crisis.
my parents died. I would say a little early. Maybe I don't know. I guess it depends on what you would call a full life. Like my dad died at 70 and my mom died at about 60, 61. So, for my dad, I guess he's seen a lot of stuff, in his life. But if I compare it to my own right now, I'm like, well, at 40 years old, there's only 30 more years left on that time spectrum for me. You know what I mean? And that's already less time than I've already been here now because I'm already at 40. And if I die at 70, that means I only got another 30 left. But then you
I
also
know.
have my mom. My mom died early too in life, like in her 60s. And a lot of people die in their 60s also. So it's like saying, is that where people get the crisis part? They start thinking like, oh my God, I'm 40 and it could only be 20 years before I'm done and
But
gone
you
now.
but you do think like that, because I've also thought that as well, as far as like both of my parents are still living.
Mhm.
They're both in their 60s. I think my dad's like 65 or 66. I got a grandma that's still living and she's like 86 or 87, I think,
Right.
pushing 90. So I'm like, between all three of them,
Mhm.
I gotta if I could stay healthy and just stay out of fucking bullshit and trouble and traffic and shit like that. If I can, I got a good chance
Right.
to seeing at least 60 something or 70 or even 90 years old or 80 years old. So
Do you see yourself being 90 years old?
I do. Like
You do?
80, I see myself being an old man and just looking back, being like, damn, everybody's gone, bro. I don't live two fucking 40 lives, two I mean, for 40 years, bro, like we're 40 years old, and you got to think my grandmother has lived a whole nother life, a whole nother one of my lives,
That you've already
and
lived.
some, and
Right.
some.
Right.
So I'm like, bro, 40 years, I'm feeling like, yo, that's a pretty good long time. But to do another 40 years, I can do it,
You can
you
do it.
know.
You
Well,
feel
I don't.
young.
I feel young. Can I do it mentally though?
Right.
That's another aspect too. Like my body feels good. Like I'm
Yeah,
still my
but
body's still healthy, but the mental part of just being here and being in this bullshit, that we got to go through on this planet
right.
is like
Like
that's
working all the
gonna
time, like working.
yeah, like I can't see myself and I feel like by the time we get up to retire, the age is already going up from 62 to what 65 now or something like that.
Mm.
Maybe, and they're talking about pushing it to 72. I feel like by the time I even get close to that, it's going to be up to fucking 8. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
who
because I
expects
mean, if
somebody
you're
to work at
thinking
60
like, look
something
how
years old,
people.
man?
That's what I mean, though, because it goes back to how we look and feel as a generation. Like our
Well, it
generation.
doesn't matter. That doesn't mean they should still fucking up in the shit. To be honest, we can make
I
a
mean,
whole
if
nother
you're
video
strong and
about that.
healthy, right? If you're strong and healthy,
I
you
don't
should
want to
go ahead
work
and
all my
work.
life. Once is 40 years not good? If well, I wasn't working all my life, so 20 something years,
Right.
about 25 years, I've been fucking working, dude. Like, yeah, about 25 years. That's a
Okay, so
long
that's a
fucking
quarter
time, bro.
century.
That's a long time. I feel like people should you should have to work when you're young. But
Yeah.
once you get, I say let's have a cutoff age, 40 or 50. After 50 years old, if you've put in your work for
Well,
that whole
isn't that
time,
that's retirement? That's retirement at what?
at 50,
At
not
50.
fucking, yeah. No, let's do it at fucking 45, 50, so people can have the rest. Because most people die around 60, dude. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that people should have the time to enjoy their life without having to worry about paying a fucking bill or, it just seems like right now at 40 years old, that's what I feel like. My whole life is just work, 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 pay bills, do this, do that. There's no freedom. There's no fun really. Yeah, we get a couple days off on the weekend or whatever, but it goes by so fucking fast, and you can't never really enjoy yourself because you don't have time to. You're always thinking about, "Oh, I gotta go back. It's a long work week.
It's
Blah
like
blah
you
blah
have
blah." Like
enough time to reset yourself and then
exactly. That's
go
it. That's
back,
a good way to put it too.
go back
Reset yourself
to
and
the,
go and do it all over again.
just to
And you
go back
keep
all
doing it
to
every fucking week, every week, every week. And
yeah,
these are less unfortunate people because we're not rich. You know what I'm saying? But just
right.
working and doing and trying to do physical. I mean, imagine these people that don't have uh good computer skills or something, and they have to actually do a labor type work for the rest of their life. Somebody trying to do hard labor work or labor work at 50, 60 years old. I mean, it's crazy. We got a mechanic at my job that
Right.
he's about ready to retire. I think he's like 65, dude. And you can see it in him, dude. That job has done beat him. He's been there for 25 years. That job's done beat him into you know what I'm saying? Just
All right.
because of the hard labor work that he has to do, turning them wrenches and shit. I
But
mean,
don't we have the choice to save money and work that 25 years and then get out? You think? Are you
yeah,
able? Do you think if someone is able to do that?
yeah, but I think that we should have it to where you literally only work 20 years of your life when you're young, and then
But how are you going to live the rest of
well,
your
then
life aside from
we
that 20 years?
we pay for it. Everybody puts in that works. They put into the pod for everybody else that gets that old.
Are you a
Yeah,
socialist, Rob?
no, not really, but
It sounds like a socialist idea, my friend. I don't know. I could be wrong.
But I mean, I don't know. I just don't think people should have to, we shouldn't have to work our whole lives, man.
I don't want to work our whole lives either, but there's got to be a way that if you're only going to work 25 years, during that 25 years, you got a mortgage, you've got kids you got to care for, you've got medical bills that happen out of nowhere, you've got monthly reoccurring
Well, it
bills.
all should be fucking free anyway, man. There's free energy around here.
Rob is a
It's just it's
socialist.
just a bunch of fucking money hungry ass people in this world that want to consume everything. They want to consume all the energy out of the human and get everything they possibly can when the shit can be all done a different way, man. And we all can survive, like, or maybe we could work up until we're 80, but we only got to go 3 hours a day, three
Yeah.
days a week, or something
What
like
if
that. You know what I'm saying?
what if we work 35 years of your life and then the rest you chill? But see, the hard part for people is saving the money for the chilling part. That's the
That's
part.
why there would have to be something put in place that every worker gets a certain amount of money drawn out every week or whatever out of their
And it
check,
goes
and
to a retirement fund.
it goes to the ultimate pod that is used for everyone. So nobody is.
Then you got to put people in charge of that stuff. And people like to put their greedy little hands in things.
I know, but well, this is a whole nother video anyway, man, because we can get into some deep shit about just what they're doing and the reason why it's set up this way. I just think as a society, we should be able to think of something different to do. Like we need to get out of this money system and all that and figure out a different way that benefits everybody all the time.
Right.
And not just,
Feeling
you got you
tired.
got you got this one person, you got this one person who lives in this whatever 100,000 square foot home that owns 30 freaking Lamborghinis.
But he worked for that, right?
Or
They
did he?
worked for that.
Well, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're just born with silver spoons in their mouth, but they never had to
Yeah,
work a day in their
there's
life.
that. But I
You
mean,
know,
you don't know anybody.
what I'm saying is that, all right, say for instance that the thing that happened with the football player, uh, he passes out on the field, has a heart attack or cardiac arrest or whatever the case might have been. The next day, that dude has $6 million in his GoFundMe account. $6 million. This dude's already got money. He's a football player,
Right.
you know. But we can't, as a society, get
So he had
people
to go
together
fund me.
to donate. Yeah, he had a GoFundMe for a charity for some school or some type of charity GoFundMe he had.
Mm.
But anyways, that thing filled up the next day with like $6 million.
But it's for the charity, not for him, right?
I'm not for sure on that. It has something to do with him and the charity, some type of charity or something. But
Mm.
either way, it wasn't filling up that fast until that happens. But what I'm saying is, why can't somebody set up a GoFundMe for people that are going hungry?
I'm sure there's
There's
probably something.
350.
I'm sure there's
There's
probably something out
300.
there.
Listen,
That's
listen to
what
me
food
though.
banks are. That
Okay,
that
but
is the
listen.
GoFundMe. That's the GoFundMe before the internet.
Okay,
It's
but listen,
food
listen to me
banks
though.
and
Listen
charities
to me.
anyway.
There's 350 million Americans in America,
Mhm.
right? If every one of them donated $1, you don't think $350 million
I know that sounds
could
like a
cure hunger?
lot when you say that. I don't think it could cure hunger. 350 million, no. Uh, I think it
Just
would
in
help.
America.
I would think it would
Just
take.
in
I think.
America.
I think it could take a big dent out of it, but like to cure it, no. And then you would
Okay,
have
not to cure it,
people
but
would
we
have
can.
to redo that though. Like
Okay,
how
so
many
every
times?
once a month, everybody donates $1. You make that mandatory, or you pull that out of people's checks.
Mhm.
Make it mandatory. See, this is the way we got to think as we grow older, um, or just as a society. Every month, $1 comes out of everybody's check to feed hungry people, to feed people in our country that does not have food at that time. Would that not worth $350 $350 million every single month could feed every every hungry
Well,
person in America.
we'd have to go
I
check
believe
to see if that doesn't already happen in a way, right?
it doesn't happen. It
In
doesn't.
the taxes, like the state taxes that they take from us, you don't think that some of that money
No,
goes
hell
to
no. It goes to all these roads
it
that
goes
they
to
want to.
aid. It goes to aid to people when
It goes to rebuilding these small roads that they want to make small, and they don't plan for growth. So then that's what they do with our tax money, is just to spend it on what they want to spend it on, and not the shit that really helps us. I mean, yeah, creating a road and making it bigger and working on it for 4 or 5 fucking years and paying all these employees to do this. Why didn't y'all just do it in the first place? Give it room for growth. Like, you got to see into the future. If you're building a city,
mm,
obviously the city's going to grow. Like, seriously, you rolling through Asheville, it's crazy, dude. Big city, small roads that are like this. You're damn near touching each other on the highway.
mhm.
I mean, your city's getting
Cars have
bigger now.
changed too, though. You know,
Yeah, but
why
now,
have
but
wider cars and things.
yeah, but now I'm saying, dude, these roads are small as hell, and now they got to do all this construction to widen and double and do all this, when they could have done that in the first place and saved money. Just do all that at once. Now you got to waste all these people's time. Like, it's just stupid shit, man. Anyways, I'm getting a little off track, but it's just
But
stupid shit. And I think that we we could just do better, man. We could think better. But and that's just what I think growing older. Like 20 years ago, I wouldn't have thought of this shit. I wouldn't even been thinking about, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. But you, the older you get, you start thinking about different shit that you would have never
the
thought about.
wiser you get, right? That's where
Yeah,
that
the wiser you get, you start thinking differently. Which, so growing old is cool as fuck. But I don't know about the past 40 part, because I ain't there yet. But I know it starts, when you start shrinking and
yeah.
your balls start dropping and
Ah.
your back's just hurting all the time. Your bones start curling up. I don't know about all
Well,
that.
let me ask you this. Do you think though that with technology these days though, people are going to live longer? Don't you think?
Oh
Like
yeah.
like like heart transplants and kidney transplants and like fucking that, like all plastic knees and hips and joints and weird things now with medical technology coming out. Like, is 40 like our midlife crisis? Is that why we're not like freaking out like the way we thought when we were like 15 and 16, and we saw someone who was 40 and they were like, buying the motorcycles or whatever, and having that midlife crisis, like, is that still yet to come for us because we're growing up with so much technology, like our generation from the 90s, we kind of grew up with computers and I mean, and some of the other generations did too, like the 80s and some of the 70s, but like,
Yeah,
it
we
was
we
different. It
definitely
was
have.
different. It was a different type of computer. It was a different type of animal. And then with the internet and everything like that, and now the explosion of all kinds of technology, I think people are going to live to be like 120 and shit, possibly.
Oh yeah, dude. It's gonna, with the technology, people were dying. I mean, back in the day,
I mean,
before the
lifespan has
flood,
already doubled since
well,
100 years
before
ago, right?
before the Great Flood, people were living to be 6, 800, 900,000 years old. And then something
What?
changed. Yes, before the flood. It's in the Bible. Yeah. Moses and
Whoa.
all them. Yeah, dude, they were like 400, 500, 600 years old. All right.
I didn't
This is,
know that.
well, yeah.
What
Read your
Bible?
Bible. Read the
What?
Bible, man. It's in the damn Bible, bro. It is.
Okay.
All right. So,
I
but
believe it. Okay.
after the flood, something happened, something changed, which shortened man's life. And we can go into a whole nother video about this, which I think we might have made one before. About It's about all the stuff that we eat and
Mm,
what we start eating as a species that kind of shorten our lives. But anyways, people recently, back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, or 1800s, weren't living that long. They're, 45, 50 was lucky, if
right.
because they didn't have like some of the stuff we have today with antibiotics and
Yeah,
Um,
that was a big one too.
and
Yeah.
just information, like, you know, if you're, say, back in the 1800s, you're out in the woods somewhere and something happens and you get cut or something, you really didn't have the knowledge of what to do. Right now we can go in or get on our smartphones and be like, hey, I got this, what should I do to this infected or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
This bug bite or this type of bug or whatever, it was this
Most
bug I
likely it's going to
seen.
direct you to like a pill or a doctor's office.
Yeah, that you can go, you know, you got access to information that can save your life real quick. And then, you know, you got Elon Musk, people like Elon Musk that are doing all this little nanotechnology stuff that are recreating human, or, you know, like organs
That's what I mean.
out of pigs and stuff. So, you know, pretty soon in the next 50 years, it won't be nothing. You can go to any store and get you a damn transplant. You know what I'm saying? If you got a bad kidney or whatever,
You
you
think
just
it's
go
going to
into,
be like
dude, you'll be
bread?
able to, yeah, like you'll be able to just hop into this machine and it'll be like, it'll fucking cut you open, put a new fucking thing in, insert it, zip you back up, no pain, no nothing, and you walk right out and you're good to go with a new fucking, I
Holy
mean, for
shit.
real, dude. Like, and it's gonna get to the point to where uh basically robot and man will merge, dude. And like, I think
And become
eventually
one symbiotic being.
it'll be just our minds or our brains or our consciousness inserted inside to artificial intelligence. Like, we'll be living forever, but inside of artificial
Okay.
intelligence. Like, you know,
But what I'm saying though is that's not going to be in our lifetime. But
no.
what's going to happen in our lifetime? What do you think you're going to see in our lifetime? Like before you, I guess, get old and die. Like
Well,
if you
yeah,
could
you
have
never
the
know.
perfect, if
So
you can have the perfect life, and let's just say you could have the perfect life, and you're going to just, let's say you're going to die at 97. Okay. And so like in that time, what do you think is going to happen with technology? You think you'll see by the time you're 97 that what you're explaining?
oh hell yeah, dude. Because look how much we've seen in the past from the 80s or the 90s, especially in the 2000s, especially 2000. Once like 2000 hit,
Mm,
technology just went through the roof, dude. And we got 5G now, about to be on 6G, and 5G ain't even already rolled out yet. So the technology is going to go faster and faster and faster. Like, by the time I'm 80, which is another 40 years, bro, it'll be like what
you
we've
think
seen
you
now.
think by the time you're 80, you're going to
Or
be
just
able to
even
go
in
in to the
60, just in
doctor's,
20 years,
yeah,
we're gonna
go be
see.
able to the doctor's office and be able to extend your life another 20 years?
Yes, because say I go in at 60 something and I got a bad whatever, a bad liver or a bad kidney or something, they'll be able to replace it. There won't be no more waiting for donors and shit like that, because they're cloning the shit, you know what I'm saying? They'll be able to clone you a good one in a matter of days.
Hmm, that's crazy. That's wild to think about.
Yeah. Like, I believe that in the next
So
40
like you
years,
think our generation is like the first to really not have a midlife crisis? You think, or do you think we're gonna have midlife crises?
well, we need to see here. Put your Google on the screen and type in the definition of midlife crisis. Because
All right, we'll see here. What is a midlife
crisis right
crisis?
there. Now go down, scroll down.
Scroll
Yeah.
down to what?
To
To people, what people ask, what are the signs? What are the triggers?
we can read all of this if you
Or
want to.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, let's check out what Wikipedia says first, and then we'll. I like those people would also ask too. All right, right there at the top, right there. Read it.
Midlife crisis is a transition of identity and self-conscious confidence
Confident.
that can occur in middle-aged individuals, typically 40 to 60 years old, right? That's our age group.
Yeah.
The phenomenon is described by a psychological crisis brought about by events that highlights a person's growing age. inevitable mortality, and possibly lack of accomplishments in life. This may produce feelings of intense depression, remorse, and high levels of anxiety, or the desire to achieve youthfulness or make drastic changes to their current lifestyle, or feel the wish to change past decisions and events. Studies on midlife crises show that they are less common than popular belief. According to, what was that, Valiant,
Hmm.
Valent,
Yeah.
in 75-year longi-
Tudinal. Longitude.
longitudinal
Yeah. Study.
on adult development, he found midlife crises were rare experiences for people involved in the study. The term was coined the Elliot Jacques in 1965.
Huh.
So it sounds like most people don't have them. You can have them, but most people don't. And if you do, it's probably because you're a loser and you didn't do nothing in life.
Well, I don't
Right?
know, man, because I be feeling. I think we just probably all go through some sort of that because I look back at life and be like, damn, man, no, I could have done this better. I could have done this. I could have done that. I normally try not to thrive on it, but it does kind of, you know, it could make you like depressed or something a little bit.
Like,
Um,
let's see. The
but
condition may occur from the ages of 40 to 60. Midlife crisis lasts about 3 to 10 years in men and 2 to 5 years in women. Midlife
damn,
crisis could be caused by aging itself or
aging,
aging in combination with changes, problems, or regrets over
regrets, yeah.
career,
Well,
work.
work, dude. I think that's my biggest thing is work, man. Like
Yeah,
every weekend, like today's Sunday, you know,
right.
I gotta go back to fucking work. I start getting depressed. I'm like, fuck. It's like Monday. It's always Monday. I'm like, fuck, dude, it's another long week. Here we go again, you know, blah, blah, blah. By Tuesday, I'm fucking back to normal. I'm starting to feel better. Okay, it's almost the weekend again, you know, blah, blah, blah. But then right around this time, Sunday, here later on the night, I'm like, damn.
Mm,
You know, it's just every week is it's a constant,
right.
constant, you know, just dreadful feeling. Like
I kind of feel
so,
that same way about work too, because I don't know. I guess at 40, I am physically like hurting. I do feel it. I'm not as, you know, flexible anymore. And maybe that's just a me thing because I don't stretch. Obviously, I'm not waking up in the morning and doing workouts and stretching like I probably should be. But, I'm not doing any of that. So I know that that kind of wears on your body too. You stop being, you're less
active.
physical. Yeah. Less
Yeah, man.
physical, less active as you get older. So it's like, when do you throw in the towel with all this stuff? When do you start thinking like, all right, I want to bring it back a little bit and slow it down? Are you at that point in life? Like at
No.
work? Do you feel that way at work only because you feel that way because you're depressed that you have to go to work? Or is it because it is weighing on you now and your bones are weak and your mind's
No. No, I haven't
bothered
got
you?
to the point where I haven't got to the point where it's physical for me. It's just more mental.
Yeah.
It's just more mental, man. Like, you know, like I said, I've been working fucking 25 years. I feel like I need a moment to have more than a week off of work. You know, I only get like 2 or 3 vacations a year. So that's, you know, that's 3 weeks out of 365 days. I mean, that's, you got to think. And if you add that up, so it's 6 weeks for, what, 700 and something days.
Mhm.
You feel me?
In
Like
my
6 weeks.
industry, I get 2 weeks a year. That's what I get.
Yeah. So it's like, I need 3 months off of work,
Mhm.
you know, or something like that, and be able to not have to worry about anything, just to get a break, you know, like.
Right.
But as you grow older, you start to get a little wiser. You start thinking about ways that you can earn a living without actually having to give away too much of your time. And that's what it's about, man. It's trying to save all the time you can.
You
That's the way
think
I
that was
feel
the
about it.
problem with the people like when we were 16 and we seen a 40-year-old? You think that was their problem because they didn't have this like how we have the internet and people could just hop online and make money online or go drive a car and drop off food because people are ordering food online and
Yeah.
now you or they need a ride somewhere or
Well, those
I
people
mean
did a lot of obviously did a lot more hard labor slave type of work as far as working in the factories because we don't have that technology, or they didn't have the technology that we have today, you
mhm.
know. uh so yeah, it
So
was
yeah, that's why
I'd
they
say
probably
work
look.
was a lot
That's
more.
probably why they look so tired during their 40s rather than our 40s right
Well,
here.
that and drugs. I mean, a lot
Yeah,
of junkies out there,
shit, dude. I know,
but
right? They lived through the 70s and 60s and
yeah, so
80s,
the
bro. That was
drugs and all
yeah,
the opioids and shit done fucking squeeze the life out of them.
yeah. But
But
that's
yeah, they don't.
wild. Man.
But their work was a lot different than ours. I'd say it was a lot more harder,
Yeah,
more labor work
more
back in the
physical,
day.
more
Yeah.
labor
So
intensive. Yeah.
with us, it's not necessarily like that. I mean, obviously, there still
It's
is
like your
some hard
brains are
labor
burnt
jobs.
out. That's what you're saying. It's like a mental
Yeah.
thing because we're
Yeah.
always on our computers. We're always like filtering through information constantly, constantly,
Yeah.
on social media, on different areas.
Well, then we got all the radio waves and the radiation that comes off of the devices and shit. All this shit bombarding us now too.
Do you know that fucking I heard that as a man, you could actually get paternity leave in England. You're a man, you can get paternity leave for like 18 months.
Seriously.
Yeah. The woman, the maternity, something like 3 years. So like if she's pregnant, like for the first couple years of the baby's life, the mother is in there and the company is paying for the mother to do that. But the father, and I think this is just recent that it did this, like, because like I want to say that their laws were kind of similar to American laws. Like I think you can apply for paternity leave as a father here in America, but it's only like six
a
weeks or
week,
something like
a
that.
week or 3 weeks or something.
3 or 6 weeks.
We had a dude do it at our job, but I think he was out for maybe a week or two. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's not very, very long.
Yeah.
And I think the mothers are something like that too, is like 6 weeks or 8 weeks here in America, you get like maternity leave. But in England, they do, or in the UK, I should say, they do the women get like a couple of years, possibly 3 years, and then the men, when they apply, they get 18 months. So that gives them time to reset and they're still getting paid and everything's kind of working. But you think someone could game the system like that? All you have to do is have another kid in that
And we
time,
got motherfuckers out here having 8 kids and shit. They ain't never had to work.
right? Oh, Americans would fucking take a
Yeah, eight,
hella advantage of
eight,
that.
8 times 3 is what, 27
Yeah, you
or
never have to
24?
work.
Wait, what's 8 times 3?
You
24 or
could
27?
you could ride on
27.
that for like at least a good probably 3 years, not have to do shit. But you mean you would have 3 kids for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know, man. I guess we'll have to figure it out. When you hit your midlife crisis, you'll know. I guess you'll start feeling it.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what y'all think about and how y'all feeling after 40, or
Yeah.
even if you're 20 and you feel like you're going through a midlife crisis. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, drop a comment, hit it down. Let us know what's up.
Like the video, do all that good
Yeah,
YouTube stuff. Check
subscribe.
out tweller.com and check out my new money making creation platform, marketer.net. Links will be in the description.
Dang. Links will be in the description, guys. You heard it right there from Rob, Mr. CEO, Tweller man himself. Don't work too hard. Why? Why do we got to work so hard, people? Let's not do it. let's have a little relaxation in our life. Let's have a little bit of chill and hang time, more time with the families, more time to do what we want to do, more time to reset ourselves,
Yes.
so we don't burn out. But yeah, uh want to thank you guys for showing up to this episode of What the Fuck America. You can check us out on What the Fuck America YouTube. You can also check us out on What the Fuck America Facebook. And you can also check us out at Twoller.com. Go set yourself up an account and start making that cheddar. All right, guys. We'll talk to you next time. Hit us up. Bye. Out for the
Nice to be in orbit.